So I had to do this video because it's only right. Because it's a question that I would ask. So how do you heal your traumas? This is a very, very good question. And it goes to one of the strategies that I use for healing my traumas personally. I'm going to speak from a personal level, from a personal perspective. One of the things I did was to heal my traumas was creativity. Creativity puts me in a place of happiness. It's very spiritual for me, and I feel closer to the Creator when I create. And more importantly, it helps me find out new things about myself. When I found out new things about myself, it helped me reactivate my subconscious mind, and it imprinted great things on my subconscious mind, on myself, to help me come into the realization that those mistakes that I made in the past that caused me trauma, and the trauma that came my way in my life, did not define who I was. Another thing that I did was go on mental diets. And I found this strategy from a guy named, I want to say it was Price. Or maybe Jim Rohn. I can't remember quite who I picked up this strategy from of mental diets. Might have been Joseph Rodriguez. Anyway, what I would do with mental diets, I would write my thoughts down that I would have about myself. And then I would ask myself, are these thoughts true? I would write thoughts down like, do I really care about my life? Am I really a bad father? Am I really not capable of finding other ways to be a provider outside of illegitimate actions? Am I capable of sustaining myself without criminal activity? Things like that. Am I truly a narcissist? Am I inconsiderate? Do I care about others? Am I angry? Am I truly angry from not having my father in my life? Am I a violent person? And I would ask myself these questions. I would write them down, and then I would come back to them later and ask myself, were they true? And I would go through all of the questions, and I would answer them and be very transparent with myself, and it would show me where I was at. Those are some things that I did. Another thing that I did was I let go of the nostalgic version of myself. I let go of the nostalgic self-image of me, which was full of holding on to things that I used to have, very nostalgic in the lifestyle that I used to live. Like, it gave me some sense of pride, some sense of false self-image or concept that I was the man because of an inferior way of living and thinking. That wasn't really who I was. I was holding on to a nostalgic self-image because I was ultimately holding on to what other people thought about me. And that's another key thing with healing trauma. You have to let go of what other people think about you and come into a reprogramming of the subconscious mind of who you now truly are. And those past things that happened, those past things that you went through, and those past people that you used to hang with do not define who you are. And it was not your fault, okay? It was not your fault. It was all a process in finding out who you are to the core of you and coming into your purpose. Now, this was all an alchemical process and strategies that I used to transmute the things that happened in my life, because I understand people have traumas. You know, we have rape victims. We have women who have been through some seriously traumatic domestic relationships, some things that are just, you know, just terrible, just diabolical things that happen to people that unfortunately affect them throughout their life. Molestation that make them feel, you know, they just make them feel just very, very, very low and undesirable and unworthy of love, and it's hard for them to receive love because of the things that happened to them, because they were touched or some type of violated in some way at a young age when they were innocent, and it affects them going on through life. And it can be very traumatic, and it can be very troubling moving forward in life when you're trying to build relationships and trust people and trust yourself. But I find that those people are the most spiritually gifted and spiritually intuitive people that I've come across, and they're most peaceful, and they have the most inner peace if they go within deeply and find who they truly are and start understanding how to control their emotional reactivity behind what happened to them. Because most of the time, it had to happen to them for them to come into the spiritual peace and the spiritual gifts and just the inclined spirituality that they have within them to bring onto humanity, to share something that had to happen to them and cause an effect for them to come into who it is that they actually are and need to be for humanity, for their family, for their kids, to be that exemplar of transformation and strength and bravery, to come out of that, to be such a starseed, such a vibrant, high frequency, vibrational person. Is like, when they tell you what happened to them, it's like you really can't even believe them. It's unbelievable because of the way that they carry themselves, the elevated emotion and frequency that they're able to maintain. Their energy is always so graceful and peaceful and inviting and welcoming, So those are some of the ways that I went about healing my trauma. And I'm still finding new ways about healing my trauma, because I'm still finding out new things about myself. And I'm understanding the emotions more on a level of how to control your emotional reactivity coming into being a man, being able to have an emotional IQ to be able to know how to show them in a way that you're in control of them and not letting them control you and becoming that actual emotion. So those are some ways that I dealt with it. And I hope that helped, because I didn't want to make a video about trauma, about not living in trauma, without a solution version of how we can heal our traumas. Peace and wellness to the family.